I used to absolutely love Halo like so many other people, but unfortunately, the modern games were not able to replicate the same magic of the original titles. Those first few games were so phenomenal, and unfortunately, the modern games are just really mediocre. It's been so many years since we actually got new Halo Infinite content, and even though they've promised a whole lot, they definitely haven't delivered in terms of the franchise. And now we're hearing that the Halo staff members are unhappy with the next game. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I, like many other people, used to absolutely love Halo. Those first few games were so magical and so amazing, and I'd love for them to bring the franchise back to its glory days. I just don't see a way that that's possible at this point with Halo 5 being bad and then them abandoning Halo Infinite. It just doesn't seem like this franchise is really their top priority anymore, which is heartbreaking, but kind of inevitable given there was nothing they were doing that was clicking with audiences. But now there are a bunch of pieces coming out saying even before the Xbox layoffs, there was tension at Halo Studios. This is an Engadget article. It says at least 5 employees at Halo Studios have been fired as part of company-wide layoffs at Microsoft Wednesday, according to a developer with knowledge of the situation. So this was from last week. An estimated 200 to 300 people remain at the studio, and employees across Microsoft's Xbox division received an email from Phil Spencer saying that they were going through organizational shifts, and a lot of layoffs then occurred. Of course, we all knew that that was going to happen. So many companies right now are doing major layoffs, and Microsoft is no stranger to that. I mean, they laid off 4% of their workforce, and it doesn't seem like those cuts are even done. But now there are very angry ex-employees who are now coming out absolutely trashing the studio. I'm personally super pissed that Phil's email to us bragged about how this was the most profitable year ever for Xbox in the same breath as pulling the lever on the layoffs, the developer told Engadget. I wasn't sure what part of that I was supposed to be proud of. Halo Studios is currently working on multiple games, including the next mainline Halo installment, and it's the steward of Halo Infinite, which is quietly spinning down its content cadence. I thought the game itself was actually pretty decent, but they never updated it. They didn't give us a lot of new maps. They didn't add any new guns or modes. Like, they really just released it and then they abandoned it, which was unfortunate. I thought Infinite had something going for it, but I mean, years after the fact, what, it released in 2021, so 4 years later, and we still basically got nothing from them. The mood at the studio is tense, especially when it comes to one project that was recently in crisis, according to the developer. So keep in mind, this could just be a disgruntled ex-employee, somebody who was furious that they got fired, so they're trying to basically get an article written about the studio and to like sow the seeds of discontent. But on the flip side, given the people running Halo Studios and how they've made all of these promises they have yet to actually deliver on, it wouldn't surprise me that the next Halo game was actually in crisis and there's a lot of issues behind the scenes. I don't think anybody is really happy about the quality of the product right now, they said. There's been a lot of tension and pep talks trying to rally folks to ship. The studio recently teased that it would reveal what it's been working on at this year's Halo World Championship in October. Halo Studios was of course rocked by layoffs in 2023, back when it was still called 343 Industries, and that culling mostly affected people on the campaign and narrative teams, including Halo veteran Joe Staten. This is also the reason Halo Infinite hasn't had a continued storyline since that time period. Now, this is such a major problem we're seeing in the industry because we are in the same paragraph talking about how today Halo Studios employs a blend of full-time employees and contractors, with junior producers in quality assurance roles generally contracted out. We are seeing a rise in the amount of juniors that are being hired and veterans that are being like, oh, I know that veteran game developers probably cost an arm and a leg, but they are worth having on your team. You should be keeping as many vets as you can and then not hiring a slew of juniors, because for every one veteran, you need 100 freaking juniors. You need talented and passionate people who know this industry to help with projects, not hiring people that are new. And hey, I love new people getting a chance in the industry or any industry, of course, if they've proven their worth, but clearly the people who are making games now are absolutely trash at it. 343 Industries came under fire from fans for the launch date of Halo Infinite, and over the years, several ex employees have spoken out about the studio's reliance on contractors who typically work with the company for a maximum of 18 months, which is crazy given the development times that some of these games go through. Like, imagine working on a game like Dragon Age of Veilguard for a freaking decade, and then there are groups of people who will only stick around for 18 months. You are talking about starting over and over and over and over with people. The amount of time you'd have to spend explaining to people the state of your game or what your plans are. By the time you actually finish explaining it, you're hiring somebody new and you're bringing new people on to your team. So none of this sounds particularly good. Also, pair that with the fact that, yes, the layoffs at Microsoft affected 9,000 employees globally, including 830 in Washington, where Halo Studios is based. We do not know, again, exactly how many people were let go from Halo Studios, but one would assume it was quite a few. The Xbox division endured significant firings, game cancellations, and studio closures. Now, what we know about Halo is not good. What we know about the state of this franchise and the people running this studio is not good. I mean, instead of making good games and instead of actually creating new content, they've been worried about virtue signaling. Halo switched in-game cosmetics from Pride Month to Disability Pride Month. And listen, if this makes you feel seen and this makes you feel represented, like, congratulations, I guess, because companies are still making this content for you. But it would be better if they were actually making new content, if they were coming up with new maps and modes and armor sets and guns. Like, that would be better, because they virtually got nobody playing Halo Infinite anymore. So sure, you guys keep pandering, but you're pandering to nobody at this point, because nobody is playing your freaking game anymore. And to top that all off, Microsoft, of course, rebranded Halo developer 343 Industries to Halo Studios back in October 2024 and announced multiple new projects are in development and claims they are changing the recipe for new Halo games. That could mean a plethora of different things. That could mean that they are changing the recipe back to the original one. That could mean that they are changing it entirely. And that could mean in a negative way, or a way that people would not deem as positive or good. So we don't even know what they're planning to do, but they're changing the recipe, guys. Maybe they should have stuck with the recipe that sold copies of their games in the first place, but they didn't. And they are, unfortunately for them, not seeing their modern audience show up to buy games, and they're not selling copies of their titles. Well, a major problem, again, is the fact that they haven't really put out a new Halo game since 2021. But regardless, Halo Infinite was apparently initially pretty disappointing for them. So yeah, we're just talking about multiple red flags at this point surrounding Halo Studios. And listen, I love Halo. I'd love for Halo to get better. I'd love for them to push Halo forward in a new positive way, because I don't want a beloved franchise to die off like this. But it's just unfortunate to hear piece of bad news after piece of bad news. At this point, I'm cautiously optimistic for their future games. Of course, I want to see what they're making, but at the same time, now we're also hearing developers are unhappy with the state of the next game. We're seeing them virtue signaling. We're hearing that they're coming up with a new recipe, and none of this sounds good to me. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.